welcome to another show. We're going to talk about passive tactical harassment methodologies. That's right. There's always plausible deniability once the target has been traumatized, once they have been conditioned, once they are sensitized, once that level of tension has been accelerated in the victim's life. Well, now the games, they're about to begin, right? And it's passive tactical methodologies, passive harassment, sarcasm, little games, of course, and there's nothing the target can say, right? With well, you could say something, right? You could confront the people that are harassing you, but of course, you're just going to get persecuted for it. After all, that's part of their modus operandi, right? They want to accuse you, call you paranoid or whatever, get you into that downward spiral. They want to get you into that place so they can pin you down, call you out, and accuse you of reading into things. And it's not to say that targeted individuals can't be wrong. Of course, they're going to read into things. That's the whole point of gang stalking, right? When you sensitize someone, when they're conditioned, they're going to make mistakes. Okay, they're going to question their own perception, right? Am I losing it? Or is this stuff really happening? And I've talked about the fact that when you get obvious harassment, you want to make a mental note of those things, okay? Because there's going to be times where you're not really sure what's going on. And, that's why I emphasize not reacting. That's why I emphasize tuning everything out and just, trying to focus on simple things in your life, having a type of itinerary protocol or whatever you want to call it that you do every day, especially when it gets aggressive, right? Because the whole point is to get your emotions boiling, right? The whole point is to get you into that place where you're either fearing for your life, you're scared, you're moving to irrational paranoia and obsessive thinking, okay? And it's not because you're crazy, though. It's because you're being attacked. So it depends on how you look at it, but that's the point. Okay, when targets are harassed, they want you to become emotional. They want you to become anxious. They want you to become fearful. They want you to become angry. They want to use all those emotions to inject their yeast. Okay, whatever that is, and targeted individuals deal with a lot of that, right? They want you to be accused. They want you to question your perception. They want other people to belittle you. They want people sneering at the targeted individual. They want them rolling their eyes at them and talking about them in their little circles because people are pretty predictable. They all need a scapegoat. They all need someone to vent on. And this world is designed in a way where there's just enough tension for everybody to go around. Everybody's got a need to vent. And of course, nobody wants to take responsibility for the problems in their life. And so the targeted individual is the selected vessel of the collective's wrath and dissatisfaction. The fuel and the opportunities for this type of activity are endless. There's always enough to go around, and the targeted individual is going to be, they're going to be dealing with it. The manifestations can vary. Okay, you can be dealing with aggressive frustration and anger from people, right? And under the surface, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of mechanisms in the psyche of people who do this kind of thing. But that's kind of irrelevant because we're going to focus in on the sarcastic, mischievous type of manifestation of this whole thing. And it plays into gang stalking perfectly because the last thing you want is for the target to have any sympathy. Okay, I've talked about that before, and that can manifest in disinformation, where the target is accused of being a deviant, maybe a drug dealer, or a sexual offender, or something that people would just hate, right? A lot of people are just following the goats straight to hell, okay? And you're not one of them. Sometimes that's all it takes. You're just on the outside of the crowd, and the social dynamics kick in, and you're the scapegoat. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going around talking about you and starting horrible rumors. Okay, it can be simple or it can be aggressive, but the whole idea is to create an unsympathetic atmosphere around the targeted individual. Okay, and when they look crazy, when they look like they're overreacting or entitled or whatever, and creating that effect with mischievous, covert, tactical, passive harassment. Well, that's what we're dealing with. So we'll use the example of a group of people. 20% are involved in passive covert harassment. 30% are in on it, but they're not active. And 50% of the people in the group don't know what's going on. Okay, and they're playing games to the target. Okay, they're doing things that the target is sensitized to. They're messing with the target. They're being mischievous. They're doing things on purpose. They're sabotaging things that the target is trying to do, trying to accomplish. Maybe workplace harassment would be a good example, right? We'll say that they're changing your password. You can't log into the computer or whatever example that you want. Well, I'm not doing that. Or they're knocking things over with the plausible deniability of just being clumsy or, oh, I'm sorry, the polite attacker, you know. Oh, I didn't mean to agitate you. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to cough all over your lunch. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, knock over all that stuff that you were trying to do. That you've been working. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if there's someone in your life that is constantly apologizing for things, you better consider getting away from them. I've talked about that with people before. Uh, they either got a serious issue that's coming back on you, and you better figure out a way to get away from them, or they're doing it on purpose. Okay, and targeted individuals deal with that. Oh, and before I get too far into this video, I'd like to thank Targeted Tyranny. He's very active in the comment section, and I always get good ideas from his comments. Thanks again. I hope you're doing well. But it's not to say that the target is just going to be dealing with little pranks. Okay, there's a little game that goes behind it too, because I've talked about the fact that targets are isolated. Okay, preferably even in a condition of deprivation or neediness. Okay, so the ultimate game would be similar to the narcissist example, right? People seem to like it when I give these examples because I think a lot of gang stalkers are obviously narcissists. They're narcissistic people who like to control things and victimize people. And when you're dealing with someone like that in a relationship, they want to isolate you. Okay, they want to control you. They want to get you dependent on them so that they can abuse you and just get away with it. Right? I mean, it's pretty simple. And if you try to get away, you can't. It's that easy. It's basically trapping someone. It's like putting them in a non-physical cage where you can just torture them because there's nothing they can do. They've severed their connections with people. They've burned bridges. They're completely dependent upon the narcissist, financially, emotionally, everything else. They've got all the people around the target completely indoctrinated with false information. There's no sympathy, and every now and again, they're gonna give a little bit. Okay, they're gonna they're going to feed their victim, right? They're gonna give them they're throw them a bone. Okay, and it's weird. It's a surreal part about being in a relationship with a narcissist like that is that they can make you feel so good. You know, they're smart. They're intelligent people, but whatever's wrong with them, whether it's demonic or psychological, whatever it is, just prevents them from being able to be consistent. It prevents them from being a loving person who's normal, and you got to deal with that freaky, surreal atmosphere that's around them. And if they deceive you, now you have to play their game. It's horrible. It's like being in a Stephen King movie. You know, 1 minute everything is just beautiful. The victim feels safe. They feel nurtured. They feel cared for, and they will overlook the mistakes of the narcissist. 'Cause a lot of times they'll have excuses, but most of the time they're going to blame that on the victim. The only reason I got so angry or did what I did is because of you. It was you. You made me do it. And everything would be just like it is now when it's perfect if you would just be perfect, right? They always try to throw that. It's like gaslighting. So the victim is always going to believe that they're the cause of all this craziness that's around them, this flipping back and forth from heaven to hell, you know, and that's what they do. Like I said, it can be beautiful, and then at the flip of a switch, it's a nightmare, right? And it's like that with people who are gang stalkers, okay? Because they have to do that. I've talked about the fact that this stuff can switch back and forth, but the whole purpose behind the passive tactical methodology is to drive someone crazy, isolate them, and separate them to get them so frustrated they have to isolate. Finally, I've gotten everybody away from me. I could finally have some peace, and there they are, in their apartment or whatever, or somewhere out in their vehicle to get away from everybody, and then of course they can relax finally, okay. But you don't dare express that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's a game you're playing, okay. Because you are needy, right? And what's going to happen is they're going to correlate things together. They're going to choreograph this thing, because no one is an island unless you got $1,000,000. If you're the $10 million targeted individual, my hat's off to you. You don't need anything, right? You don't need anybody for anything. You can get away with it. But I don't know anybody like that. I'm not like that. And I've seen the game firsthand. The perps will infiltrate your social circle, your workplace, whatever, and they'll box you in. I've seen it. And there you are. It's kind of like playing The Sims. If you guys have ever done that, your little character has meters, okay? They have their happiness meter, and they have their social meter. They've got their comfort meter. If the environment around them is filthy and dirty or whatever, or if they have uncomfortable furniture, and so on and so forth. It all kind of plays in to the overall mood of your little character, right? And in order to have a happy, productive, successful game, a successful character, you gotta do things, right? The little guy has got to go on the computer and socialize, or he's got to go hang out with his neighbor and talk to them, and then you can watch the meter go up a little bit, and then they've got to have fun. They're working too much, so you got to let them watch some TV, or you got to let them play a little game or whatever, or they have to accomplish something, and all these things, are realistic in the life of a human being, okay? And you're the same way, right? And so you're getting attacked from all these people, and they're literally surrounding you, and you don't know it. And then, well, I'm just going to get away. And now something's going to happen. So if you try to stick up for yourself in the wrong way, or try to call these people out, that's just an opportunity, okay? In the example we started out with, the 20% of people that are using covert tactical harassment against you are just going to join up with the 30% that knows what's going on. It was a setup, and you were being boxed in the whole time, right? It's like being attacked as a targeted individual in a family situation where everybody wants to put you in a mental hospital or something. It's classic. But instead, now you have to choose between one hell or the other. You want to freeze to death, or you want to burn, right? Because you don't have anybody to talk to. You're isolated. You don't have any help. You might be financially deprived. You might be in a place where you need financial help. You're going to need something eventually. Or you're going to have to deal with these people at the very least, okay? But they want that ammunition, right? Not only are they using these passive little tactics against you, just like that narcissist, right? That sets up their victim. Once they get them isolated, once they get them in a place where they can abuse them, they're going to set them up. They're going to set them. Oh, what did you do that for? And then, of course, then they can blame them for all the aggression they want to vent on them, right? These people are no different. So it's kind of a setup. When you're getting that kind of harassment, you're set up for a lot of different situations. You're going to be called out. You're overreacting, right? Or later it's going to be, oh, you want my help now? Oh, you want to be friendly now? Now that we have to share the same space, you want to, oh, so now I'm not the unreasonable person you accused me of being, And so, you're walking a fine line as a targeted individual. And the gaslighting is ridiculous, and it is accomplished with this type of passive tactical method. It's perfect for gang stalking. Okay. You don't have to give in to the gaslighting to be driven crazy with this type of method. It's just frustrating, right? You can't go forward, you can't go backwards, you can't go left, you can't go right. You've got to deal with them, and it has reciprocity. And every time you try to solve it, you're giving something. You're giving a part of your soul, because you just you're not going to get anything out of it. You're banging your head against a brick wall. It's like the never-ending fatality in a Mortal Kombat game. In this game that you're playing, every time you play, you give something. Every time they play, they take something. Okay? And so that's what you have to remember when you're going to deal with this. Okay? Because when you react, and I've talked about this a million times, you're giving something. When you try to call them out, when you try to correct their behavior, when you try to square the circle that has been created around it, it doesn't make sense. Don't try to call these people out and prove that they're not making sense or what they're doing is ridiculous. They don't care. They know that. Okay, they already know that. Don't waste your time with that. That's just another way to suck some blood out of you. Okay, these vampires love it. They love that kind of stuff. But there are some things that they definitely don't like. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Because that's what you have to do. You have to take away the incentive. You have to take away the food. Right? It's like taking the drug away from a junkie. Oh, they get mad. Okay, they need that. Okay, when you're playing this game with a gang stalker, when they're going out of their way to light your head on fire, to drive you crazy, they want something. Okay, and they also want to deceive you. And we already talked about that. It's your fault or whatever. You deserve it. Or, if you weren't such a freak, none of this would have to happen. Or a lot of targeted individuals will believe it's because of their past, or maybe they've got an addiction or something. And then so they start jumping through hoops. And when's this ever going to end? And of course, like I said, the gang stalkers, depending on who you're dealing with, they might throw you a bone every now and again, right? And if you're dealing with a heavy spiritual scenario, it's definitely going to involve that, right? Because the whole idea is to get you in a place where you're deceived and internalizing this stuff, okay? Whether the individuals that are, the puppets know it or not, okay? But they need something. They need the food. They need the reaction. They need you to believe the lie, okay? And when you don't, rather than to stomp around you and be powerful and control you and deceive you and play God with you, you have shown them to be, well, the pusillanimous little punks that they are. They don't like that. And when you can accomplish that, you're getting the boost, okay? Because they have failed in this little game, right? They're not, ruling over you. They're not playing God with you, right? They're not convincing you that you deserve this stuff. They're agitating you, but if you don't play into their game, they just look weak. You've taken their dignity. Okay, that's not working out for them. And it's not to say they're not going to keep yanking your chain every now and again. They'll wait until you're having a bad day or whatever. It seems like they know. For me, that's just proof that a lot of this is spiritual. Okay, that people are being, influenced spiritually or demonically. You get a little blood in the water, and the sharks they come from everywhere. And if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, I try to be different, but convey a consistent message. In other words, I'll talk about a lot of different things. I'll talk about workplace harassment or break-ins or gaslighting or street theater or innuendos or control programming or a lot of things. But the protocols are consistent. Okay, the theme is consistent. The affirmation is consistent. It's not, someone jumping from one foot to the next, trying to be unpredictable in a way where it's unrealistic, because targeted individuals are dealing with a lot of stress. Okay, And if you simplify your life, you're going to take away their power. If you create a type of force field around yourself that prevents them from getting what they want, you're going to win. Doesn't mean they're not going to try. Okay, they're going to try, but you're creating a zone around yourself. We'll call it a manipulation-free zone because that's what they want. They want to manipulate you. Okay, they're doing this for a reason. They want to reprogram you. They want to get in your mind. They want to be able to affect your emotions. They want to get you to react. They want to put you into a state of anxiety, right, or anger or frustration. And if they can't do that, it's back on them, right? Not only are they failing at that, but they look ridiculous because a lot of the stuff that's involved in passive tactical harassment is just downright damn childish. Instead of creating an opportunity for them to accuse you or to get you to internalize this stuff or play God with you or whatever to manipulate you, they just end up looking ridiculous. They're reaching to the bottom of the barrel on that. Okay. And while they're reaching in and, they've almost got themselves, ready to fall into the bottom, you just kind of give the barrel a little bit of a shake and they fall right on their head. Okay. So there's things that you have to know. Okay, first you have to know they're trying to manipulate you. In order to create the manipulation-free zone, there's things that you have to do. Okay, and I've talked about a lot of them in prior videos. Because a lot of target individuals are going to inadvertently draw attention to themselves. Okay, you don't want to go around looking for this stuff. Okay, you don't want to be paying attention to conversations around you. You don't want to be looking to see if people are looking at you. You don't want to have a whole lot of eye contact. You're going to want to have your goal in mind, and that is to follow your protocols, whatever you're doing. If you're at work, whatever, focus on that. Focus on minding your own business. Focus on doing the right thing yourself. And if somebody's in your face, if somebody's playing that little game, you know what they want. Okay, so awareness is a big part of that. Okay, the other thing you have to remember is this stuff is very frustrating. Okay, I'm not denying that. You might be sitting there going, okay, great, just don't react. Yeah, whatever, Doc. Okay, no, I'm serious. And the thing that you have to remember is it's for your own good. Okay, even if you don't believe that you can push it back on them, the thing you have to remember is one of your main objectives is to keep this from escalating. Right? It can get worse. Your emotions are very dangerous. And, when people are pushed, a lot of things can happen. I've talked about Myron May or other examples, the mass shootings, or people that used to be targeted individuals online who are sitting in jail, right? And their channels are, completely inactive or nobody's heard from them in years. We don't even know where they are, right? And you could see the escalation in their life, and you could see how they're becoming more aggressive. They're becoming, angry. They're talking about, doing something, or how Target's we got to get together and get a voice and buy, damn it. And they focus on the injustice of it. They're complaining to maybe their local police department. They're calling fusion centers. They're trying to sue the government. Being realistic is a big part of this. And managing your emotions comes first. Realizing what's going on. First things are always first. Okay? And with that, there's a principle. And that's the time principle. Okay? And this happens to me, and this is how I know, because when it happens, it all happens at once. Okay, it's that crescendo effect, right? You get somebody does something, and it's just one thing after another, and it starts out kind of slow and it's subtle because, of course, there's gaslighting involved, right? Because the whole idea is to get you to believe that you're either overreacting or bringing this stuff on yourself. Okay, and the trick is that with the sensitization and the conditioning and everything, a lot of times targets they'll buy into this stuff, and they will help create the opportunity for the gang stalkers, for the perps, to maximize on this damn nightmare that you've been thrown into. Okay, you don't want to do that. One of the things that you have to remember, and I have to do this every day because I'll get frustrated, I'll get angry, even if you get something destroyed, like your personal property or whatever, I mean, you're just ready to flip out, man. You're ready to do something. And it's time at that point to step out and to step into the third person. And remember that as time progresses, that emotion is going to go away. Okay. That's really your only option at that point. Okay. And remember that when you do that, you are denying them their drug. You are denying them the ability and the opportunity to escalate this and get you thrown in a mental institution, in prison, or destroy you. Okay. Or at the very least, you are denying them their drug and that they're going to get what they want and they're going to really yank your chain and they can escalate it. Okay. And they will. And the thing you have to remember, because a lot of people might say, well, that's it. That's all I get. Well, you're looking at it the wrong way because things can get worse. Okay, that's something that targeted individuals have to remember. Things can get a lot worse. No matter how bad it seems, it can always get worse. Okay, it's a hard fact, and they want to take it there, wherever that is. Okay, they want the opportunity to take you further down than you are right now. It's like dealing with a stock chart. Okay, well, I've only gone up 3 cents. And 2 weeks ago, I was at $4, and I'm only up to $4.03. That's awesome. Okay, that's if all you are is within 5 cents of $4, you're doing good. You haven't lost a whole lot of money. You might not have made a whole lot of money, but there's still a lot of possibilities for you. They want to take all the possibilities away from you and take you down below rock bottom. Okay, that's what they want. You can't let them do that. They're not happy with just destroying your personal property or attacking you or ruining your lunch or your work day or whatever they're coming after, whatever they're doing, waking you up in the middle of the night. They want more. Okay. If all they can say is they attacked you, that's nothing. Okay, they just look even more ridiculous, like I said before. Okay, that's not the goal of this whole thing. The goal is for you to go into that downward spiral, to go down that rabbit hole of emotional manipulation. If they don't get that, they completely fail. The other thing to remember is these people, even though it looks like they're getting away with it, they're eventually going to pay for this. Okay, they believe they've got the company credit card. Ka-ching, ka-ching, they're coming after you, and it looks like they're getting away with it. It's going to be a rude awakening for them. Okay. Some of them know that eventually they're going to pay, but they have a type of philosophy, hell is hell or whatever, or it doesn't matter, things are going to be bad. I might, it's not going to make a difference or whatever. Lateral comparisons are used on the other side too, because targeted individuals deal with that for the sense of injustice. But they do the same thing for deception on the side of the perps. Right? When you get social dynamics in play, it looks like it's okay. You got someone who's singled out from everybody else. The targeted individual is the lone gunman, and it looks like everybody's just getting away with it. They don't fear repercussions, even in the social dynamic scenario. But eventually it's going to happen. And it might be sooner than later. Sometimes you get the instant karma situations. I'd appreciate if you guys put those in the comments because we've all seen that, right? If you've been playing this game long enough and you're minding your own business and you're just kind of putting up with it, they'll get aggressive. They'll come out of the woodwork. And eventually, you're going to see one of them get what they got coming to them, even if it's just something, that seems minor. If you see they, I don't know, become anxious or realize they're screwing up or stammer in their words or just make a fool out of themselves or whatever. I've seen that kind of stuff happen. I had a girl do something to me in Bible study a few years ago where she started, talking smack. I don't even know who she was. I never said anything to her. It was kind of weird. And then all of a sudden her demeanor changed and she looked really nervous and panicky. And she's like, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. And I was like, what the hell? It was probably demonic, you know. I've seen a lot of that stuff, and even at the workplace harassment kind of scenario, you know, where somebody would be lipping off to me or whatever, and then they would get drawn into a little scenario and freak out and get fired or something. And it wouldn't be that long. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. But that's what you have to remember. If you're minding your own business and doing what you're supposed to be doing, and these people are coming into your world and they're harassing you and they're going out of their way, they're pushing the limits. Okay, you're not supposed to do that. Okay, you're supposed to, treat other people the way you want to be treated. They're breaking all the laws of the universe. I've mentioned that before, and they think they're safe, right? They're not. Okay, they're waiting for that meat hook to come and grab them and take them where they're going, unless they repent and turn to God. That's it. Okay, and it's either going to happen sooner or later. That's the only conclusion that everybody has to deal with. That's we all have to face the reality of judgment. Okay, and you can use whatever philosophical type of scenario to reason that stuff away, or you can try to minimize it or whatever, but it's going to happen. The last thing I want to talk about is overthinking, and I have a problem with that. Okay, I have to catch myself all the time. And, woulda, shoulda, coulda. A lot of times, targeted individuals will be led to believe that they could have prevented this, right? In the process of gaslighting the victim to try to internalize this or believe that it's justified, they'll do that. And you can get caught in that, okay? That's baloney. Don't buy the lie, okay? No one has the right to do this to you. They don't. It's illegal, okay, period. The other thing is trying to figure out things that might happen. Okay, you have to be prepared for that, but it can get to a point where it's obsessive, right? And you can get into a place where, the fear is just, it's killing you. Trying to figure out what's going to happen or why it's happening is not something that you have to figure out, okay? All those things are little tricks to get you into a reciprocal scenario where you're just beating your head against a brick wall, right? To drive you even crazier than you already feel right now. Okay, that's not going to work. They have to figure out why they're doing it, not you. This stuff is illegal. Okay, period. And if anybody gets caught, I'm going to throw a party. Okay, I would love to see someone get caught doing this stuff and prosecuted. Maybe it would send a message to all the other people out there who are involved in this stuff. And it would be for their own good. Well, let's get back to the obsessive thinking, because that's what they want. That's what we're going to call that, because they want you obsessing over what they're going to do, why they're doing it, what's going to happen to you, what the future is going to be like. They want you trying to figure out why God is allowing it. If you're a Christian targeted individual, what's the devil going to do next? What's going to happen? No. When you find yourself in a place where you're thinking that kind of stuff, just stop right there. Okay, and it's the same principle that I talked about before. When you get attacked, there's the time frame. Okay, when emotions get stirred up, when your thought process starts to go into that crescendo, and you find yourself obsessing about something, they want to maximize. Okay, whether you're dealing with something that's demonic or whether you're dealing with human or whatever, government, I don't care. That's the time that they want to maximize. You have to cancel it. Okay, so what do? You find something productive that you can have control over, that you can do to improve your life. I don't care if it's something simple like cleaning the bathroom or, taking a nice bubble bath or whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, you're done. It's kind of like that movie, What About Bob, right? He's on a vacation from worrying about stuff, right? It was kind of a joke in the movie, but it's real. Okay, when you find yourself in that place where you're obsessing, you need to stop. Okay, you're in a manipulation-free zone, man, and they are trying to manipulate you. They want you to obsess. They want you to try and figure this stuff out. They want you to start banging your head against a brick wall and worrying about the future and thinking about the past, obsessing about things that you don't have control over. Okay, you're going into that chain reaction. You might be experiencing anxiety. You might be experiencing panic. Okay, depression, hopelessness, anger. Right, you're being taken right where you don't want to go. Okay, and what do you think is expected of someone in your position anyway? You're being ganged up on. You're being illegally stalked and harassed. I mean, you got to give yourself a break. Being harassed and stalked and dealing with energy weapons and, break-ins and workplace harassment and all this crazy stuff, food tampering, covert tactical, methodologies. People are messing with you constantly. I mean, you still have to deal with all the other stuff in life, right? What do you think? What do you think God expects of you? I think that you're doing pretty good. Okay. I don't care if you've had some problems. I don't care if you made a mistake. I don't care if you're being obsessive. I don't care if you've been reading into things. Okay. You're still a free moral agent of society, I'm assuming, if you're listening to this. Okay. That's an accomplishment for someone who's dealing with all the stuff that targeted individuals put up with. It's crazy, right? This whole thing is insane. It's beyond. It's like living in a Stephen King movie, probably like 3 or 4 of them at once. That's why a lot of targeted individuals don't even believe that the world is real. I mean, how could it be? Oh, look at all the stuff they're dealing with. They think they're in a Matrix or the Truman Show or whatever. This stuff is beyond. It's frustrating. Okay, life is frustrating. Dealing with passive, tactical, covert harassment is definitely not something on anybody's bucket list. Okay, it sucks, and you have to know how to deal with it. And even though it's unpleasant, you can beat it, man. Okay, you can take control of the situation, and eventually God's going to solve all these things. He can fix it. Okay, it doesn't matter how far down you are right now. If you think it's over, if you think you've lost your mind, if you're sensitized to the point where you're afraid to leave your house or whatever, it's not over. It's not over. God can fix that. Okay, and I would suggest that anybody out there that feels that this whole thing is hopeless and you're just trying to figure out how to get out, ask God for help. Okay, I mean, He'll do that. Cast your care on God. Okay, He's big enough to deal with it. He's the arbiter of justice. This is His world. This is His universe. Do what you're supposed to do every day. Appeal to God. Thank Him for all the things you have, and He'll take care of it. Okay, He will. It might not look like it, but He will. And by the way, I believe that prayer works, and like to ask you guys for prayer. Every time I do that, it works. It does. It's great. And I think I have an eye infection, so I might have to go to the doctor here in a few days, but it's not that bad yet. But I just thought I'd put that request out there. Prayer works. God doesn't always change the circumstances, but He gives you peace. And it's peace in the midst of the storm, guys. Targeted individuals are in a storm. Okay, this is crazy. It's insane. It's like being in hell. Sometimes I wonder that every now and again. Okay, but if you find yourself dealing with passive tactical gang stalking where they're driving you nuts and using all this stuff on you, just remember, put yourself in a manipulation-free zone, step out into third person. You know what they're doing, and because you're not deceived, they're just going to look like ridiculous, weak idiots. Okay, they're reaching at the bottom of the barrel. They want to manipulate you. Okay, and you just give it some time. Let the emotions dissipate. Guys, be good to yourselves. Be safe.